I recently got to go to an out-of-town comic shop and went through their $1.50 bins hunting for back issues. Check it out. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and this is Northgarden Comics. Today I've got a small back issue haul to share with you. It's part of a series I call My Comic Book Adventures, and that's when I share with you the good books that I find for great prices. If you like this kind of content, please take a second and hit that subscribe button. And as you watch, if you see something you like, give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. All right. As I'm filming this video, if I gaze out my window, do you know what I see? I see snow. Now, I do live in the state of Minnesota. Haven't been here my whole life. I was born and raised at the Jersey Shore, but I've been here for about 13 years, and so you might think not surprising to look out the window and see snow, but we got like 7 inches of snow just the other day, and that's significant because what they tell us is that we haven't gotten that much snow this early on since like 1905. So, 2020 just continues, maybe not to surprise anymore, but to just pile on, maybe at this point, is what 2020 is doing. But the reason I share that is because the books I want to show you today, I picked up within the last 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weekends ago that my wife and I and one of our kids hopped into the car and we went on a day drive to look at fall colors. So we were driving around parts of the state, getting out of the car, taking pictures, looking at harvesty type fall things and great reds and yellows and golds and all kinds of nice autumn goodness. And now, less than 2 weeks later, the only color out there is white. So anyway, just the shock value of that still is still sinking in for me. But the books I'm going to show you on the course of our adventure for the day, our drive took us to a city called Mankato. That's Mankato, Minnesota. And if that sounds familiar, maybe you grew up watching Little House on the Prairie. And yes, it is that Mankato, the big city that they would go to occasionally in that show. But Mankato, Minnesota, to a store there called Pulp Comics and Games. I've been there a few times when life, for whatever reason, has taken me to or through Mankato. And they've got D&D things, they've got other gaming things, they've got new issues of comics, and of course they have back issues. And I headed into the back issues area for this particular adventure, and they had 50-cent boxes and they had dollar boxes, and I went through and scored a few things. So I want to share those with you today. So let's go ahead and dive in and see what we got. Okay, first up is 2 issues of what was a 12-issue series. I don't think it was ever officially called a limited series, though I don't know if they planned to take the story further than that. It was called Mr. and Mrs. X, and this is a story featuring Gambit and Rogue. It started right after their wedding, which took place, I think, about 2 years ago in the pages of XMen Gold. And after they got married, I don't know if they went on a honeymoon or it just picks up their adventures and maybe they planned a honeymoon and it got interrupted, but this 12-part series takes them to space and Mojo World, and we get the introduction of a character. I forget the character's name, but she's the daughter of Professor X and Lalandra. Deadpool shows up, I think, in the first issue. Mojo, bunch of other characters. So could be a fun little space romp and adventure for Rogue and Gambit, but been wanting to piece this together. I did not collect it as it was coming out, as is my habit with many newer books. I will wait patiently to see if I can find them in dollar bins, and so I've now successfully completed it with these 2 issues. Here's issue number 8. And then number 10, and now I have the full 12-issue run. I've read the first couple of issues, but now I'll go back and reread those and then read the whole 12-issue story. And like I said, was able to piece it together for 50 cents or $1 an issue, so not too shabby there. The next handful of issues come from a volume that I have been trying to piece together for a while now. Been working on the entire run. It's another X-Men spin-off series that started in the late 80s, 1988. It is Excalibur. This is a series that, like I said, when it started, it was written by Chris Claremont and co-written by Alan Davis. And Alan Davis also did the pencils. He did like the first 24 or so issues, and then he left, then he came back for a while, and then he left again. And when he came back the second time, he was also writing it as well as drawing it. So you can find Alan Davis's artwork through off and on through the first 60 some odd issues. And this is a series I've mentioned before that I collected pretty regularly for the first couple dozen and then dropped off. But in the last few years, I decided to go ahead and keep going with the volume. And at some point I decided, why don't I just try to get all of it? It's 125 issues, but if I can pick them all up for 50 cents or $1 a piece, it's a pretty low risk, even if I don't love the stories. And I will say, you know, I'm curious to know, how do you collect? Do you collect by writer or artist or character or title, something like that? Maybe this is more of an older school mindset, but I've definitely been first attracted to characters and titles. And so I will go with a title and I will tend to stick with it through the highs and the lows, because writers come and go, artists come and go. I remember whenever I would see a guest penciler, I always knew it was a gamble. Will I like the art in this issue or not? But it never made me want to drop the book. I would just keep with it and know that you would have seasons of goodness and seasons where things were not as great. Different from today, where it seems like I don't believe any volume of a title is going to go ridiculously long. It's not going to get into the hundreds of issues. Of course, there are exceptions, and some publishers do a better job at that than others, but I'm primarily reading Marvel books, and they seem to have a real habit of rebooting and resetting books with new creative teams every year, couple years, things like that. So it's easier to pick up and drop books now and then. So I have mixed feelings about that, I guess, in terms of the way things used to be versus the way things are now, but that's a conversation for a different day. But again, the books I picked up from Excalibur today were, here's number 116, and I'm down, now with this haul, I'm down to less than 10 issues to have the entire run. And the ones I got today are right towards the end of the run. That was issue 116. This is 122. 123. And the penultimate issue, 124, which announces, oh, it says the bachelor party for Captain Britain. But Captain Britain's getting married. He and Meghan are on the cover of the final issue of the volume at their wedding, issue 125. I still haven't seen that one in the wild, so I don't know what I'm going to encounter when I find it, what the price tag is going to be associated with that, but I will hold out so I can get it at this $1, $2 kind of price range. But I got those issues, and like I said, I'm very close to having that full volume, and then I can reread the issues I've read before and then continue on through the entire series. And maybe I'll do a video once I have all 125 and just show all the covers from that volume. That'd be kind of fun. All right, next up, this is a book I bought. I don't have any other issue in this series, and I don't even know how many it went. I know it was a limited series, but I bought it specifically for the artist. It is called X-Men Children of the Atom. This is book 6, and the artist is Esad Ribic, and I've talked about before how much I like his art style. He's got a real painted kind of a style. The cover definitely is reminiscent of the style of his that I know, but what I found was interesting was how different his interior pencils were. And this is from 2000, so this is 20 years ago, and I didn't get introduced to him until roughly 2015 was when I first started reading him. I saw him on Thor God of Thunder, and then the Secret Wars event series, and then things after that. And when I opened this book, it doesn't look like his style. Here's just an example. The pages look much more normal. Less of that epic kind of painted style that I've come to love and really kind of expect from him. To give you a comparison, I have something here. Here we go. This is just an example. He's going to be doing this upcoming Eternals 12-part series, and you can see right there that just, it carries a real epic painted style to it, and it's even got a couple sample pages from the interiors in here, and that's really more what I've come to expect when I think of his style. And I don't know what changed, if his style evolved or if he was doing just the pencils and the older stuff and somebody else was inking and coloring, whereas in the more painted style that he's known for now, he's doing more of that on his own. I don't know. If you know anything about his art style, how that evolved, or what might explain the difference between something from 20 years ago and now, I mean, you expect some evolution, right? But that's pretty drastic difference to me, to my untrained eye. Let me know in the comments if you know anything about the evolution of his style. But got that for that. And then next up here, this was one I was not sure about, and then the completionist in me won out. I recently showed a book. It was from a 4-part limited series on the character Rogue from the late 90s, and I found issue number 3, I think it was, for 25 cents, which is an easy buy. They had issue 1 when I was out at this store, which, you know, always tempted. I got to admit, though, I don't love the style. So I wasn't sure if I was going to buy it. But then, like I said, the completionist in me won out and said, oh, what the heck, I'll grab it. And again, it's only $1. So if I get all 4 issues and spend a total of less than $5 on it, if it turns out to be terrible, it was a pretty small investment for that story. And who knows, maybe I'll like it. And this does kind of harken back to that 90s kind of era. You know, we've got the nice reflective gold in the title there. So that's a little bit nostalgic as well. So a fun buy. And then 3 more issues to show you. And these are newer issues. In fact, I would call them current issues still. They don't really even qualify as back issues at this point. Not anything like the ones I've showed you so far. But something else I try to do, I do like new comic books as well as older comic books. I know there's different schools of thought out there, or different preferences. You know, there are people who read only new things and don't really collect older back issues. There are plenty of people who really just read the back issues and they'll poo-poo new comics all day long. And you probably hear them more vocally, especially at shows and conventions when they're talking. They don't like the way things are written or drawn today. I still like the stories. I still like the characters. I think it evolves over time. But yeah, I enjoy the writing and the art style of today. That's not to say that I want to spend top dollar for books that are new just because they're new. You know, price tags on new books today range from $4 to $7, not irregularly either. Those $7 books are becoming, unfortunately, more and more common. So what I will oftentimes do is I will commit to buying the books I really want to have in my collection, but then there's plenty of other books that maybe I want to read, but I'll just wait and be patient and see if they show up in a dollar bin at some point. And that's exactly what happened with these. Marvel just finished their Empire event story, which I still have to read. I just got the last issues in my recent shipment of books that I pre-ordered, so I've got to read that. But some of the tie-in books I'm interested in, but again, I don't want to spend a lot of money on them. But I got the first issue of the Captain America tie-in, and that was another strictly cover buy. Was it Mike? I'm going to forget his name. Mike Henderson? Yep, Mike Henderson did the covers on these, and that's what drew me to the series. He does not do the interior art, but I figured if I could pick them up for cheap, it might be a fun little story. And they had issue number 2 of 3 for the Empire Captain America. So I got that one. And then the X-Men Empire tie-in series, that's a 4-issue limited series. I did buy number 1, and I did pay cover price for that. And interestingly, that was an Assad Ribic variant cover that I wanted, but they had the next 2 issues that I needed for $1 a piece in that limited series. That's a cool cover with Angel and Magic on it. It's number 2 of 4. And then number 3 of 4. And again, new books, if you're patient and can find them for $1, what a great, easy way to add to your collection, get some great stories to read, and be easy on the wallet. All right, that's going to do it for me, and that's going to wrap up this relatively small comic book adventure. I still hope you saw something that you liked. If so, let me know in the comments down below or give it a thumbs up. And like I said, if you're not subscribed to the channel, just take a second, hit that subscribe button. If you want to see some more back issue hauls and adventures that I've had, I got videos up here for you to check out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.